So today's video is how I keep my greenhouse organised with all my tools and everything I need. Someone recently asked me in the comments how I keep my greenhouse organised, and I'm going to be honest with you, it was organised after my last Temu haul, which is where the comment came from, and since then I have kind of taken on lots of different tasks, one being repotting my whole collection, which I really underestimated. So what I'm doing is repotting everything into these beautiful white pots, and as I'm doing it I'm taking a picture of every succulent, naming it, and then I've got a catalogue then of what I've got, so I can just see what I've got, see what duplicates I've got, see what I need to propagate, see what my favourites are, and yeah, make sure, like I say, I propagate them. That task is insane. It's taken me months so far. So because of that, I have got things everywhere. So I'm just going to pan around and show you the mess I have been creating over the last couple of months. So as we walk into my greenhouse, yeah, mess. So I could just show you the beautifulness of all the lovely succulents. So many in bloom at the minute. So that's always good to see. Amazing. I've actually had to put up some more shade netting over my variegated section because it has been intense. Just so much sunlight. It's been getting to like 39 degrees in here, which is a little bit much. I'm just paranoid they're going to get burnt because it's still really early in the season. We're getting some beautiful sunshine, but over there I've got some bug clear treatment which I'm doing, so when I'm repotting them, if they then need a drink after a week or so, they then have a little dip in there and then they get moved to a certain shelf, so I know which ones I've treated. So it is organized chaos in here, I'll be honest. Like, there is some kind of, you know, uniform to it. I know what I'm doing within reason. I've got some new beauties which I have done a haul for, so you've probably seen them. They're just sitting there rooting at the minute. Same with some of those. So, you know, there is method to my madness. We've got some head chops, but there is a lot of mess. There is like leaf props, we've got all sorts. But this is my potting table. This is what I use quite a lot of or all of the time to do anything. So I've got my little green backdrop which just keeps it nice and non-reflective, because this is a bit not very good to film with sometimes. Again, I've got some succulents here I need to pot on, which are rooting quite nicely, so they're ready to go, and that's another kind of video I'm doing as well. But today what I'm going to do is just share with you how I'm going to sort this out. So I did have a little tidy up yesterday. I'm not too sure why I've got some chives in here. I'll have to move them into my different section inside. Yeah, so I did have a little tidy up. This was completely covered in soil and mess and stuff, and I've been able to put these labels in little pots. I find these really handy if, for example, I have had some bugs. I have seen amelia on a plant. I will put a label in there, treat it, and then that will remind me to treat it again in however many days time to make sure that the cycle of that amelia is dead. So red at the minute is a little bit like danger. I don't have any which I've got currently, which is good. I think I'm slowly treating them. I just find I get rid of them and I have one pop up on a leaf prop because I just love leaf props. So it's one of those things that I don't really have a problem with them, but there's always one about. Yeah, it's a pain. And the same with these ones. So for example, over here, these ones with the green labels in have been treated with bug clear, but I couldn't find room for them on the top shelf at the minute. So yeah, green means they have been treated. So yeah, like I said, there is some method to my madness. I wanted the yellow ones to be the ones which I don't know the ID for, but it's just everything you think is just gonna be like not quick and easy, but it's gonna be quicker, just takes forever. And I've got a little girl, so I only can do this when she naps, and sometimes that doesn't go smoothly. So yeah, it's chaos in here. So I'm going to try and sort this section out with you today and just show you what I've got to do that. Yeah, and hopefully give you a bit of inspiration to keep your greenhouse a bit more organized than I have. And maybe we can share some tips as well, what works for you, and I'll see what works for me. But obviously down here I've got loads of pots because I've been changing from the terracotta and the plastic pots to white pots. They've just been chucked underneath every time I do some repotting. So I had a bit of a challenge to myself to make sure I do 5 a day. Well, I'm one of those people, if I set myself a challenge, I want to exceed it. So I then had to do 10 a day. So I've just been chucking things everywhere. So as you can see, it's a mess. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's tidy up all this stuff. There's my little bin down here. I've got in here some horticultural grit. I have to keep it covered. There's a spider living in there. He's having a lovely time. I hope he's not dead. Yeah, spiders are really great for eating bugs and things. So although I'm not a fan of them, yeah, I hope he's all right. They do eat bugs in your greenhouse, so yuck, but yay. And then over here in this one, I've got compost. This is head chops I've actually done in a recent video, which are now rooting, so I need to put them on. So I've got a few things to do today while my little girl is with my mum. So yeah, I've got some things to do. There is, you know, it looks messy, but it's not too bad. So anyway, let's get into it. Let's stop blabbing and get into organising this mess. So firstly, I'm going to just remove everything that's under here. I'm going to put you on a time lapse so you can see things quickly rather than watching me do all this very slowly. And yeah, you can see a lot quicker from start to finish how to organise your greenhouse. And hopefully I can give you some tips and advice along the way. Actually, just before I start, I'm going to show you what I've got. So I've got loads more new pots, which I really underestimated how many succulents I own. So I've had to get another 100 of these. So I've got them through from the lovely Temu, and also, here they are, these little organisation trays. So I'm hoping I can kind of have a tidy up and get something organised where I know where things are. It's so annoying when I come in here to do a quick job and it takes me about double the time, triple the time because I haven't got the things I need. So these are from Temu as well. They were so cheap. I think there's 10 here. So yes, very handy, hopefully. Yeah, loads more pots and some more labels. These are brilliant. And I'm now writing on my ID labels in pencil so I can obviously rub them out and reuse them, because I was just wasting so many labels with using Sharpies and stuff, and some will fade them, which is really annoying because then you obviously lose the ID. So pencils apparently don't fade, and I haven't had any issues yet. So these little things, I think these were like 90p for, how many have I got in here? 100. So brilliant, and use pencils and you can reuse them if you need to, which is great. So that's kind of the bits and bobs I've got. So I'm going to use this now as a bit of a rubbish bag. So let's carry on. So that's the terracotta pots kind of moved into one of these little box things. I don't really use the bottom of my greenhouse for plants, so I'm gonna, I think, put these at the very bottom because I don't want to get rid of them, because I don't know how well the white pot's going to work. It's a bit of a trial and error this year of them. So yeah, I don't want to get rid of all these lovely pots that I've collected over the years. So I'm just going to move them somewhere out of sight for a little while and just see how I get on, because it might be that one day I decide to come back to them. And so I don't want to sell them or chuck them or anything, but they are very handy having all these little pots. Very, very handy indeed. I use them for my sales as well. It's what I keep a lot of my succulents that I grow in, so it's good to have them. So that is full already. That didn't take long, didn't it? Did it to fill that up? I've got one random one, which is, I really love the look of a terracotta pot. I have all my arrangements outside in one. They just look nice and rustic, don't they? But the new ones are just a different look altogether. So that's the pots. I've got some odds here which don't really go with anything. Got some saucers, which I find very handy. My cat's just popped out to say hi, so you'll probably hear her crying. Right, so I'm going to move this out of the way and then carry on. Why is it when you're trying to tidy things up, you have to make more of a mess before you actually get anywhere? So right, I've just chucked everything on the floor and had a little sweep. I have got tubs in here, which is brilliant. I've got these like old sweet tubs with different substrate in. So this is I can't think what it's called. If you want to know, let me know in the comments and I can drop a note of what it is. But it's really good substrate for plants like a Lowy or a Compton, which don't really like any water, are a little bit allergic to it. I don't use it that much. Sometimes I just use it at the bottom of like arrangements and things, because I think it's got nutritional bits to it, or what's the word? Not nutritional, but it's got, yeah, I suppose it is. It's nutrients in this stuff, but it's got no compost, so it doesn't hold any water. So it's good for something like, I say, like a lowie, which rots easily and doesn't like water. So I've just got them there instead of having a big bag over there with them. And I don't know if you saw at the start, but I've just got tubs and tubs of soil because I make my own kind of substrate mix. It depends what I'm doing to what kind of mix I want. So if I'm doing some outside arrangements, I might make them a little bit more grittier because we usually have quite a lot of rain. I was going to go away from John Innes compost this year and use normal multi-purpose compost, but I've changed my mind on that because the compost nowadays is just rubbish quality. So yeah, I'm going to stick to some John Innes, which is like this. It's quite there's no bark and stones in there. It is just kind of compost and it's very sandy, but I'm just going to make sure I add a scoop of compost and lots of grit to it as well. That's what I'm doing this year. Right, so let's get started. So I use a feed. I haven't used this on many of my plants this year. I should really do it a bit more, but because I'm concentrating on bug clear at the minute, that's kind of taken a back seat, but it's really good at plumping up your plants. So if you've got one that looks very thirsty and it just is struggling a little bit, it's worth getting some of this. It only needs a teaspoon in with, I think it's like a litre of water. Yes, and it's amazing. It does make such a difference. So these are kind of my treatments or feeds. Like I said, I'm doing bug clear at the minute, but I'm very strict this year with when I'm watering my succulents because I'm determined not to have so many rotten ones. I think what I was probably doing is just being a bit too kind to them and giving them water too often where they don't always need it in the greenhouse. So I'm really, looking at the plants and thinking, do you need water? So for example, this one is my tremolo. He's a boy now. He's only had water once this year. It's now 5th of June. And it's really plump. It doesn't need any water. So it's fine. I'm not going to water it. But usually I think because I'm like, oh, it's, however many months, 2-3 months into the season, it should have some water. Well, it doesn't need it, so don't water it, basically. That's my rule. That's what I'm sticking to. I'm looking at succulents individually rather than a collection basis for watering. And I've made a lot of the mixes a lot more gritty this year. So yes, I'm hoping they will let me know when they want water rather than me just giving it to them because I feel sorry for them. So, bug clear, feed, and then I'm going to use some of these. So I've just started a little one of, probably going to have one for like pens, one for, I don't know, clean, what is it called? Paintbrushes. My goodness, my brain. So paintbrushes I use for pollinating. I just get these cheapy ones off either Amazon or Temu. So I'm going to have a nice, I could even label these. That would be so good for my organisation. I love labels. So I'm going to have clean paintbrushes. So if I see some blooms which look beautiful, I can just grab one of these. Some of these look quite dirty. And then I'll have a dirty pot as well. So maybe when I'm in a hurry, I don't get confused, I can have something like that. So they are the ones which are dirty and need a wash, which is all of these ones here. So I don't want to use pollen from previous plants because I'll probably have, well, it'd be beautiful to have some hybrids, but I'd like to know what they are. In fact, I'm going to clean all of them. They look quite grubby. So I just clean them with fairy liquid. And then I've got loads of pens in here. So let's carry on. How many pens does one girl need in a greenhouse? This is insane. This is my scoops. Oh, I just dropped them. This is my scoops and pens pot. So I need to reduce this because I just said I'm writing in pencil. So why do I need all these pens? So we've got some paintbrushes, some pens and scoops, lots of labels that have been used already. I'm not really into these ones. I think I'm going to get rid of them. But I've got loads of white ones here which I can reuse. I wonder if I can actually soak some of the pen off. I don't know if you can bleach them and things, but yeah. And then I'm going to have a tool. So this can be anything like my trusty scissors, and these I've just found like these, and what's this? And then I found the heads. So obviously these are cheap and cheerful, and shows because they've come off. So I might just super glue these and yeah, use them. They're really handy when you're trying to get in arrangements and kind of get the roots in a pot and yeah, dig them in basically. So they're handy. And oh, just found another one. So this is why I've ordered more things, and I didn't need them, did I? So I've got more labels. So anyway, let's continue the time lapse. So we're getting somewhere. I'll just put under here, this is some sand which I mix in when I'm sowing seedlings. So it's like sharp sand. I mix that with some really fine compost. Also my brush and dustpan. This I've used before to film. It's a spinning cake stand thing. And now I've got some empty tubs and things. So that could be really handy for compost and bits like that. Then I've got over here my new pots, which I'm going to be using soon to put on some of these beautiful plants. And then I don't know why I've got 3, but this is just my 70% alcohol spray, which I use if I have mealies. And when I get new plants, I do spray them as well, just to make sure nothing's coming in on them. And now I've got some tools. So I've got spoons. Not really sure what this is, but I think I've used it before, not often. Some scissors for head chops. I have got a little knife somewhere. I've got my little tripod, some rope. I'm not really sure what I've got, pipette, but there we go. Like I said, I've got labels, pens, scoops, and paintbrushes, and then dirty paintbrushes there. These I used to use to water succulents, but I haven't used them in ages, so I'll see if I use them this year. If not, I'll get rid of them. Yes, that's so far. I've got 2 greenhouses, by the way. I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned that. This is my hobby greenhouse, and then I've got one for everything that I grow to sell and obviously to keep for myself as well. So I've got seeds, leaf props, mature plants, all sorts in the other greenhouse. So I need to do the same in there. So let me know if you ever want to see that greenhouse. I could maybe do a quick tour of both of them, show you the difference once they've been sorted out. But yeah, so far so good. I want to keep some of this stuff, but I just need to make it look pretty. So this I will probably have up the top here. I'm just going to go through it and check what I need. I don't know if I've finished the video yet and published it, but these I am using at the minute for my blooms. So I will try and pollinate a bloom, and then I'll put the sticky label on so I know which bloom has been pollinated with which other succulent. That's what I'm trialing this year. I've obviously got some rakes in here, some scoops, some tweezers, more paintbrushes, so I need to sort them out. So that's going to go up the top there, so it's just obviously available on hand there. Rubber gloves, I use that when I'm doing any bug clear, because that stuff smells really strong chemicals. I did wear a mask as well when I was using it because it just worries me. I don't know what else to use, but that works. So that's what I'm using at the minute, and I don't have bees in here, so it's safe for the wildlife. Yeah, and this is amazing. This is my electric blower. So when it rains outside and my succulents get wet, I give them a little blow with that to get rid of any of the water that's sitting in the crown, because that can lead to rotting. This is flowers of sulphur, which is a really good mixture to put on succulents if they get fungus or mildew. I've actually bought these icing sugar shakers to put it on succulents if ever I need to. I only had issues, not last year, the year before. I don't think I had my dehumidifier on as much in the winter, so it was very humid in here, and one got fungus and it spread so quickly. They're like airborne, I don't know what they are, fungusy things, but yeah, they spread quite quickly to my succulents. So you just literally cover them in this and it treats them. It does mark the leaves because you are changing them from fungus to not, so they can go a little bit black, but they obviously do grow out. But that's the only thing that really saves them, I found. And also, if you've got a succulent which you think is rotting, I've also sprinkled a little bit on the bottom. But again, wear a mask and make sure you've got sufficient airflow, because this stuff is, I don't know, some kind of chemical. I'm not scientific, but just be careful if you're using it. I thought I'd actually just talk to you rather than just point at the things. So if you have your succulents in a greenhouse and you are based somewhere like the UK, which is really, really humid in winter, I don't know if humid is the right word, but that's obviously what it comes up with on my thermostat thermometer thing. But it's just very moist in the air, and succulents hate that. They like really good airflow, they like it to be dry. So like I said, I had some issues a couple of years ago with fungus. So what you could do if you don't have electricity in your greenhouse, or you just want to protect your succulents from any mildew, because that is it is really dangerous for them. It can kill them really quickly, and it spreads really quickly as well. Like I said, there's like these porous things which go through the air. You can sprinkle your whole collection in this. Obviously, like I say, be really careful. But I saw someone on Facebook suggest using these, and I thought that's a brilliant idea. So you just pop some in here and just sprinkle them over your succulents. Obviously, they are then covered in this, and they don't look quite as beautiful as they would normally. So it's obviously personal preference if you want to do that. And also you can fleece your succulents to protect them from frost. But apparently this works really well for protecting them throughout the winter season, to make sure you don't get any fungal mildew infections and attacks, basically. So yeah, a little top tip there. I've not used it myself for a preventative measure. I've only used it when I've had an issue. Unfortunately, the scarring does grow out, and it obviously treats them, which is brilliant. So what else do we need to do? Oh yeah, so these, I'm going to keep these as well. So these are really handy if you have a succulent which has come with unrooted, basically. So if you've got a cutting and you can't get it to root, luckily this one already started already. Water propagation is a really good method to get them to root. I had a Lowy which I had for about 2 years, and it just would not root. So cutting the stem quite high to the rosette is a good tip. But also I fill this with water and then pop the stem in here. What you would do, so this one's got a long stem, you'd make sure that the water isn't hitting the stem at all. They can't be touching because that can cause rot. But what the water propagation does is encourage the roots to grow to that water, because obviously they are thirsty and they want that water. So I have this little tube thing, and it's really handy for that. I've had that work for a couple of mine which did not want to root, basically. And I've also got a shot glass for it as well. So they're really handy little things to have if I ever have problems. But yeah, I think we're getting somewhere now. I've got a lot of tubs of soil to sort out next and organise. So let's carry on. Also, just to note, I never chuck things out because I was going to chuck out these teeny terracotta pots before. So I've got these teeny ones and these little babies. Like, how cute are they? Excuse my nails today. But they're really handy. So when you get new succulents, I like to sit them up in a tray like this, so they're getting a nice amount of even light. And then you can just keep an eye on them. So when they start rooting, you can see them really easily. So that one I'm going to pot on soon, or probably today actually. Obviously this one is a little bit lost in there, but instead of them falling through and getting a bit misshapen, they can just sit in these pots. So I don't like to throw things away, because you just never know in the future when you're going to need these things. I think I've finished. I'm ready for lunch. I'm knackered. My knees, I'm 35. You'd think I'm about 65 for my knees. It's terrible. So yeah, I'm done. But I'm going to share with you now what I've done. Obviously you've seen most of it, but here is an overview. So the top shelf I'd already kind of done anyway, but I've just kind of sorted this out. So I've mostly got one of each thing in here. This is mainly for my outside plants anyway. I wouldn't really use that on succulents, but it's just handy to know where it is. These I use all the time. Sometimes if there's like dead leaves on a plant, I like just like poke them off with this. If I've got like one random mealy, I'll poke it off with this and spray it. Just so many things I use it for like digging around in soil, getting the remnants of old soil off a pot, just loads of things. So skewers I absolutely love, so I've got 2 of them. And also they're really dangerous if you leave them under here and go and grab something. I've had them get into or stab me in the finger before, so keep them somewhere safe. Rakes, I use these with everything. I use them to repot. They are amazing. Obviously a scoop I use day in day out. Really good for repotting. These ones off Temu are brilliant. I've got lots of different sizes, I've got some little where are they, little bamboo ones here as well, so they're cute and they're great, and I've got a huge one as well. Also pencils, which I probably need to sharpen a little bit, and my trusty knife for head chops. I've also got a new set of secateurs, whatever they're called, in the other greenhouse, which are really good for head chops as well. So that's that little shelf. I've got my gloves here, which I did use for my bug clear, but they aren't really waterproof, which is interesting. So I've now got my trusty marigolds. Yeah, and then here, like I said, I've got my labels in different colour kind of organisation there. These are what I need to put on next, or some of them. That's for one of my reels. Obviously that's a tripod. This is my little backdrop thing, just to look a bit nicer for videos. And I have got my pots, which I'll be using to repot lots of things, my alcohol spray, paper. So I haven't mentioned this, but with regards to collecting seeds, I like to have just a bit of white paper so I can like sprinkle the seeds onto, see what I'm doing. It's really handy because at the minute I've got lots of blooms which are probably ready to have the seeds collected. So that's really exciting. It means in a couple of years I'll have some beautiful hybrids, hopefully, if it's worked. So yeah, lots of different blooms I need to try and have a look at today. And yeah, so I need to collect them on paper. I've got different soils here. That is, I try and reuse old soil sometimes as much as I can. So if a pot or a plant hasn't rooted fully in a pot and the bottom of it is still, you know, unused and fresh, I'll just pop that in the back one there. With my huge task I'm undertaking, and then I'll use that in outside arrangements to fill up the bottom or something. So try not to waste anything. Like I say, I've got some tripods, rope in there, some stickers. I've got loads of labels now, all on the same thing. I've got scoops, paintbrushes, all sorts. So yeah, it looks so much better, so much more organised, and I'm going to know where things are. And I've got some of these left over to do my other greenhouse. So all this stuff needs to go in the bin. This is what I use as my top dressing at the minute. Yeah, so I just need to sort out the rest of the greenhouse. I thought I'd need two of them, but I can get rid of one of those tubs as well. But yeah, that is the potting table organised. So that is it, a bit of organisation finally in the greenhouse. I felt like a little bit of a fraud when someone's like, oh, how do you organise your greenhouse so well? I don't. That was the answer. At this stage, I had no organisation. So I'm hoping I can keep this up. It's quite easy. Everything should work a lot better for me. I should be able to find things a lot quicker when I'm trying to do a quick job. Like I say, when my little girl goes to sleep, I try and do things really quickly. And, you know, when you go into your greenhouse and your hobby, you go in to do one thing and you come out and you've got a list of 10 more things to do. So hopefully this will make it a little bit easier for me, and hopefully there's something that you've learned in this video that you can use for your collection in your greenhouse or wherever it is that you grow your succulents. So yeah, I hope this has been helpful. If you've got any questions, please ask away in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. It means the absolute world and does so much for me. I love making these videos, and I just want to make sure I'm making them so someone is enjoying them and someone is getting some kind of benefit from them. So yeah, it's kind of follow along with my journey really, and if you learn any tips and tricks along the way, then I am mission complete. I'm really happy with that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching today. If you want to see any future videos, I upload every Thursday, so like I say, please subscribe. But thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.